only, yeah, like toilet paper is our go-to.
I love getting my hair cut, especially when there's a scalp massage involved.
But she would say, your body is a temple and you need to take care of it.
We have a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, where he just ate garbage. How long was that? A year?
Do this. I can't do this without Cassie and the kids enabling me to do this.
I find myself encouraging myself, so I'm like, no, you can do this. Don't give up.
We got lots to say.
I love my husband so much and my son. I had a baby. Her name is Isla.
I want to see the baby. I've definitely had multiple drinks on multiple episodes.
Loosen up.
It's a podcast. We're here to have fun, so enjoy yourself. I don't know.
We're just jumping right in here this week. It is absolutely wild what is going on here right now.
We're off to the races.
Yeah, it's like, woo. Both of us are having some shocker technical difficulties. So brace yourselves.
Just
friends.
The best.
It's gonna get... It's like throwbacks. We could call it a throwback. Because it happens every week. Is it really a throwback? Is it just like current affairs? Yo, what you drinking, bro?
It's a Coke Zero, ice cold. Sponsored
I was
by,
gonna say.
Perhaps, one day.
Oh, you think?
Coke Zero money? Ugh.
Can you imagine? I would not be broke.
One of the things I want to do is just like, basically like poverty version of Dragon's Den.
Poverty version Dragon's Den.
Just
what does that mean?
Ask, instead of going in and proving a product and be like, hey, we've marketed it, we've demoed it, we proved it works.
Yeah.
May I have some money and you can have some of my company?
Yeah.
I just want to be like, hey, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But we need your money now.
Yeah, so people have done that. People have done that.
One day.
Yeah. Actually, it might not be Dragon's Den. It might be Shark Tank. But I have seen some episodes where people have gone in with just like a prototype that they have not tested.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. There's one in particular. I feel like I'm calling this person out, but like it is what it is. He was building a, like, you know, those bicycle carriages that you can put like 2 kids in, or 3 or 4 even, probably, maybe. You know the ones. What are they called?
Kids, yeah.
Yeah, a whole gaggle of kids.
A stroller?
But for the bike, so it like hooks up to your bicycle.
I feel like I'm overthinking it now.
Maybe.
Oh, like the like a trailer almost, eh?
Yes. Yeah. So this person had created something to that effect, but it was being marketed specifically to runners. Like he wanted people to be able to like run and jog with their kids in there. I don't know. And it was kind of like, well, oh, really? Wow.
Oh, damn. Well, folks, it's just you and me once again. Yeah, I can't figure out lights to save my life, and Jenna's back.
Yay! Thank you for holding the fort. Apparently I don't have an internet connection, despite the fact that I recently moved my internet repeater to directly next to where I'm working. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Where was I? Oh yeah, this guy. He made these like little go-karts or whatever for what do you call it? For runners. I want to look it up. I don't know. Should we even
go-karts for runners?
Not a go-kart, but like, okay, let's see. Whoa, bicycles. Bike trailer. Cargo trailer for bicycle. Okay. So a jogging trailer on. Was it Dragon's Den?
Picture.
Wyke bicycle trailers?
Wyke? Yeah, sounds like a fake name.
I know. Inventor Bob Bill. Okay, so WIKE, 7 years ago. So basically he goes on, he pitches this idea. He had, I don't say I guess, he had built this. So the idea behind it is that it easily converts between a bicycle trailer or a stroller / jogger.
Oh, tool. Yeah.
Because a lot of them will do this, but they're not great. And so he was like, we're making the best one. It's going to be the most loved, blah, 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 one on the market, you know, all that sales pitch speech. And the long and the short of it, I feel, was that he was like he was too focused on like making it perfect instead of just getting the product out there and then tuning it as you go. Like they were like, just put it out on the market so we can get numbers, see how this performs, like what. Anyways, so people have gone in, I guess, and pitched ideas, but they're not going to invest in something that isn't tested or tried at some level.
I feel like that would be a hard thing to do too, because I think the recommendation I've heard or read or whatever many times is just get something out there and then you can fine tune it and whatever as you go. But to put yourself out there and all your investments and whatever, and you're not sure what's going to come. You're still not sure, even if you think you're fielding something that's perfect.
Right.
But at least you're fairly confident.
Yeah.
I feel like knowing that you have to do iterations of the product, I would be so stressed out, I think.
Absolutely.
What if there's no iteration 2.0 because no one wants it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and the odds are good that if you're creating something that is for a specific purpose, there's probably going to be other people that need it too. Like the odds of you being the only person who needs this thing ever in the history of the world, pretty slim. I think other people will end up needing those same products too, right?
And I'm sure you'd have done some research as well, like knowing.
Maybe.
People say do market research. I don't know what fucking market research is. I'm just
what is that even?
My market research is how many have been bought in this past month on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I know is hotcakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's valid. Yeah, man. What is up?
I heard that they're shutting down the Department of Education south of the border.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I think that's pretty impressive. I'm not a fan of, the Western education model. It has a lot to do with making people workers and not making people educated.
Okay.
But so I'm okay with revamping the system, maybe rebuilding it, but I don't think getting rid of the entire administrative apparatus is the way to do that. That said, I've not run businesses or countries, so it just seems like a wild leap to me.
It is a wild leap. So I think in the Department of Efficiency, they're looking at
the Department of Governmental Efficiency.
Sorry, Governmental Efficiency. Perhaps they've identified that the Ministry of Education is a waste of resources. But also maybe this is just a big ploy to so if you fire a bunch of people, I don't know how it works if those positions are unionized or not.
Teachers are unionized.
Yes, but in the Ministry of Education, I don't know if those positions are or not. And so my question is this a way to get around having to like pay people their union stuff? Do you know what I mean?
Like severance or whatever.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised. That seems like the kind of underhanded thing,
right? Like
that someone might want to do.
if they're trying to make
Oh, pardon me. I heard a tisk, but your face still hasn't moved. There we go. There we go. Almost. And she's gone again. Damn. Yeah. The Department of Education. I feel like you're cutting the head off a snake that you kind of want to keep around.
I tell ya. Is the word curriculum the word I'm looking for? It's like the
yes.
document that states what kids have to learn.
Like and what age and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just
okay.
say, I would say curriculum or syllabus. I don't know if those are interchangeable.
Okay. Yeah, I was second guessing my word choice. Anyway, it's like that. I think that's the governing body that decides what goes into said curriculum. Yes?
I would say yes. That would be my guess. Like ministry mandated, whatever, or Department of Education mandated learning. I don't know.
Oh, this might work. Hello?
Hey.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, we must be having some delays on both ends.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like it's there's things happening now. I feel like it wasn't uploading moments ago. Now I'm uploading. So I think once that catches up, I'll be okay. Hopefully no more interruptions. Yeah, is it the Ministry of Education writes the curriculum, yes?
I would say so, yeah. We've got some teachers in the audience, they'll correct us.
Okay. Yeah, please do if this is incorrect. And to those same teachers listening, what does the dissolution, is that the right word?
Ooh. Yeah.
The dissolution of the Ministry of Education. What does that mean specifically for on like school on a day-to-day basis? I'm sure there's going to be some massive impacts because you can't just get rid of the overhead organization without the bottom part of it crumbling. No,
I feel like number one is money flow is going to be a problem. Just, I don't know if it would be payroll or operations and maintenance budget or whatever they have to pay for.
Yeah.
Like that could be a problem. And do they not, do schools pay taxes? They've got utilities.
Schools must pay taxes. Yeah.
So I feel like
this is a hot mess.
Would they be able to foreclose on a school and kick them? Think of the children.
Foreclose, you know what I mean? Oh my god. Ministry of Education.
Like imagine Hogwarts without the Ministry of Magic.
Well, this is it.
And we do know what happens when the ministry gets over involved.
The BBC is talking about this. Can Trump truly dismantle it? He has signed an executive order aiming to begin the dismantling of the Department of Education. It's a long-held goal of conservatives, but complete shuttering of the department is unlikely as it would take an act of Congress. Since Trump returned to the White House, the department has already announced plans to slash about half of its workforce. Established in 1979, the department oversees funding for public schools. There you go. So it obviously like doles out all the cash, administers student loans, and runs programs that help low-income students. Trump and his allies have accused the agency of indoctrinating young people with racial, sexual, and political material. What does that even mean? Indoctrinating them with racial, sexual, and political material. What?
So they're talking things like critical race theory.
Okay.
They're talking about gender identity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In school, that's what he's talking about.
Okay.
Indoctrination is just obviously a very selected word to describe what's being taught in schools, rather than just you could be a little bit more neutral about it.
Okay.
I think it's intentionally inflammatory, but a lot of people I think do consider it indoctrination.
Okay.
Does that also mean that then Catholic schools wouldn't be affected? Because
I'm not sure how. So the schooling system, I believe, is different here than it is in the U.S. My understanding is that Catholic schools are part of our Constitution, a lack of a better word. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if that's the case in the U.S. I know that there's a big push in Canada to, like, I don't want to say end Catholic schools, but end the distinction between two different school boards like that and just, like, have them all be the same.
Catholic schools in the United States, are they private schools?
I wonder. Maybe.
Catholic schools are supported primarily through tuition payments and fundraising.
So, yeah, paid, private. So a common misconception, I was incorrect. A common misconception is that the Department of Education operates U.S. schools and sets curricula. That responsibility actually belongs to states and local districts. The agency does oversee student loan programs and administers Pell Grants that help low-income students attend university. That's kind of a big deal, folks.
That makes sense. And we should have probably seen that too, because that was that whole Roe v. Wade thing too, when they overturned it. Because federal government in any democracy, I'm speaking broadly here, probably a lot out of my ass.
Sure.
But like this, the states are supposed, and same thing with the provinces, you're supposed to be able to, make your own decisions about your economy and your education and how your people are governed and whatever, I don't know, other political things.
Yep.
And I don't know actually what like the fucking point of the federal government is. They just seem to tell one province to give money to another.
They're like the mom and dad of all the provinces.
Yeah, it seems an awful lot like Trump is just trying to offload as much work as humanly possible
onto individual states.
Or just as long as it's not on his desk.
Oh, I see. So make it
like,
not a federal issue anymore.
If Doge gets rid of all these departments and agencies and stuff, that's like how many fewer documents that he's got to friggin' read and sign or be briefed about. I don't know. That'd be interesting to see if he's just like clearing house and shrinking, so he has. I think most people would
do,
and they would be going at it from like let's give the money back to the people. Let's give the decisions back to the people kind of thing.
That's what they'll say, right?
Well, no, Trump would say that too, but he's just going to spend more time at Mar-a-Lago golfing instead of pretending to care about the issues that he currently does. I don't know.
I had this thought last week. Maybe I don't want to talk about this too much, but I was like, what if Trump is just the puppet for Elon Musk? Like, Elon Musk doesn't want to be the president of the United States, but he wants it to function in a way that maybe benefits him and his own personal sort of interests. Is that possible?
I mean, is it possible? 100%. It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Is it happening? Who knows?
Yeah.
But
And
one thing
I
is
don't
certain.
I don't necessarily even mean this as like a malicious thing. Just like
No,
he
it's a
has an
question. Yeah.
agenda and he's like, this is the best route to achieving said agenda. Maybe it is malicious. I don't know him, so I can't say. But even if I did know him, I probably couldn't say.
It's hard
So.
to know these billionaires. They're so regimented. They're so, I don't know. I think they have such a way about them. Just, it takes a certain kind of person to amass that kind of wealth.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think in the, at least in the federal states government, they're all the rich people and all the politicians, they're just walking hand in hand down the street. They're just
Fair.
giving each other Dutch rudders. Just look at how good we are. I'll help you out. You help me out.
Yeah.
It's not bad. We're not actually doing it. They just make everything look like one thing when they're doing another.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm convinced that's what most governments in developed countries do anyway.
Right. Maybe. I don't
I
know.
don't know. Yeah, who knows? That's a cynical view, I'm sure. But I think there's more truth to that than not.
I think that it's not impossible. It's likely happening. It's probably happened in the past. I don't know. Part of me is like, if you don't see things cynically sometimes, then you're not seeing the reality of it any time.
Yeah. You're kind of like your rose-colored lenses kind of thing.
Yeah, you have to be able to like critically view something to see it for what it is eventually.
Yeah.
Like, even if the critical view is not the way that quote unquote it actually is, you can at least try and like mull out, sift through the weeds, so to speak, right? So I don't know.
Well, it's an interesting way too to just make sure you're not just taking everything for face value, right?
That too. Yeah.
I think
Yeah. Oh my gosh. People
most
who live in a
politics
place where they can just take everything at face value, like, praise be, man. Like, sounds like a nice way to live.
That's why I'm jealous of children.
Okay, yeah.
The innocence of youth is like, fuck, oh yeah, look at that blue sky. That's where the thought ends.
Woo! Yeah.
Done. Look at how pretty that is.
Yeah.
I wonder why the sky's blue. And now, like, flat earthers and shit, it's like, can I have one peaceful fucking moment?
Yeah. No. We're critically thinking everything.
Do you think there is a group of elites controlling the world's governments?
So I've heard this theory, and somebody said it's oh my gosh, the World Bank. Is that even a thing?
The World Economic Forum, the World Bank. World Bank's a thing.
Yeah,
the World
whoever
Bank,
runs that.
I think it's a Schwab.
Apparently, it's a multitude of nations.
That would make sense. Like
Multiple nations, yeah.
like the UN kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, my understanding is that that's what controls the world. Is that true?
It's an international financial institution that provides loans and grants to the governments of low and middle income countries for the purpose of economic development.
Right. Or lack thereof. Are they withholding funds to ensure that some countries stay right where they are?
Yeah, or like, yeah, who's getting these contracts
and who decides who gets what, really,
I heard an interesting argument. There's
a
counterpoint to I want to believe that it's happening, because that would just be, I mean, every fucking James Bond movie is real then.
Yeah.
But like, I think there's a lot of conspiracy sort of light on that idea. Because, how can, I don't know, 100 people, probably even less, I don't even know, maybe it's single digits, I don't know. I could see examples in any of that space, but it would have to mean that there are more willing participants than we know of who are really good at keeping secrets.
Okay.
Or there are so few of them that are doing it, it's impossible to, I don't know, see the patterns or dig deep enough to get to the truth, as it were.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I feel like that would have to be an insanely long shaping operation to guide how all of these governments across all of these countries have A, grown and developed, and B, how they govern themselves so that you could achieve your goals, whatever those goals are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's possible. It's improbable, unfortunately. That said, I mean, we know these people. Everyone who's a billionaire conspires to keep their wealth, to maintain their wealth, or to grow it. So getting involved with political decisions that impact interest rates or financial or banking laws, I mean, it's probably not as nefarious or mysterious as the movies or the books want us to believe.
Sure.
So world domination, because world domination might not look like what we think it looks like. It might just be that they continue to grow and we continue to stay where we are or shrink.
Yeah. So that no one's taking, like, it's that analogy, like, you don't put all your eggs in one basket kind of thing. But, like, in this case, it's more like you keep those eggs that you really want to yourself, and then you're only spreading out the eggs that people think exist around.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
It's almost like hiding in plain sight, too. Like,
yeah.
It's not like totalitarian oppression and, famine and whatever. It could look like anything.
Yes.
There was this one guy, he was talking about developed versus non-developed nations, and like, we used to say like first world problems or third world countries or whatever.
Yeah.
Apparently that's not I guess that's not those terms aren't used anymore.
No.
The nation is either developed or undeveloped.
Yeah, or in development.
In development, yeah.
Yeah.
And the interesting argument is like he was talking about Ghana. He said, "Is Ghana a developed nation or a non-developed nation?" And he's like, "Non-developed." He goes, "Okay, so those people are non-developed people." And like, that was a really interesting way of considering whether a country is developed or non-developed.
Is it? But developed to me speaks to the economical status of a place.
Yeah.
The resources that they
there's a lot
acquire. The access, I think it's access to resources. Things. Yeah.
But the example he used was sorry.
Yeah. No, it makes me I thought the terminology was good in the sense that you're either developed, so you have like established government.
Or developing, I guess, are the terms.
Okay. So like you have an established government, you have somewhat order, like I think of in development countries, I think of places where there's a lot of perhaps war, civil war, unrest, where their leaders are being overthrown frequently, that kind of thing. And so I don't think it's so much like, to me, that it's a very small way of looking at it, to focus on is it the people that make the country developed or not, right? It's not so much about the people. I'm sure the people want it to be developed to some degree, right? Maybe they feel like it is, but in contrast to other quote unquote developed nations, it's not the same.
The the developing country, they talk about their industrial base and a lower human
Industrial
development
base.
index.
So
Which
does
I
that
would,
mean they're not, like, reproduction rates are low? Like, is that what that's saying?
it could be a lot of things. Like I think
Okay.
of things like literacy.
Okay. Yep.
You know what I mean? There's just some places where they don't have good education
There's
systems
some
set
places where
up.
there's none. Yeah.
Yeah,
No education set up. Yeah.
and they classify countries by income group, markets and economic growth, geography, and other parameters.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. I feel like when I hear somebody asking, are the people developed or not, it's almost like threatening or questioning their intelligence. These people
and
are highly intelligent in the spaces that they live,
I think
right?
the reason, and I'm probably misquoting or misparaphrasing,
No,
but
no, no.
the idea was the people, yeah, the people can be developed, they're literate, they've got jobs or whatever, but the country itself is developing or non-developed because
Yeah.
it lacks the unifying factor. So the example
Yeah.
he used was like basically all the colonies are WASP countries, so
Yeah,
white,
okay.
Anglo-Saxon, Protestant. So
Yeah.
there's a common racial background, a common or I guess a common cultural background, a common
Yeah.
religious background, and a common
Ethnic?
ethnic, cultural, and religious backgrounds. And
Okay.
so, like in the United States,
Yeah.
WASP is a pretty good way to categorize the
Yeah,
country.
it is.
But in Hughes, Ghana is like there's 16 different languages. There's a bunch of different
Okay.
religious and ethnic and cultural backgrounds and stuff. So it's harder for them to
Unify.
develop in a unified direction because
I
they're all
see.
it's different views, different priorities, different
Yeah.
concerns. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
don't know,
totally.
but
Oh, wow.
it reminds you that yeah, the country and the people might not be the same thing.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know.
That's very true. I think um I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I'm sure in history there have been, nations or countries that are like immigrant based. So maybe it wasn't working. New people came in, they fixed it up. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't want to say fixed it up. That seems weird, but
In the context, I know what you're talking about though. But yeah, from outside looking in, like, so it was a problem.
they
No,
took over. No, no. Um,
but
I
I would
feel
see
like
these.
I don't want to include like colonialism, so to speak, because I think there was like a lot of unfortunately like cultural loss for like a lot of
Big time.
native um people. Uh, I'm just throwing this out there because it's what came to the top of my head. But like I have heard in Australia there was a huge amount of loss of like the native culture of the people who lived in Australia originally and sort of got overrun and overthrown in some ways. So that would be like the opposite thing of what I'm talking about. I'm thinking more of like there've been situations in like South America, for example, where like the leader was not doing the best work for the people, so to speak, perhaps.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
a
The
new
people are
leader
developed, but their government drives them economically into the ground.
totally. And
Yeah,
so in instances where they're able to like maybe I don't know, if they're not in a democratic system, they can't elect a new leader, but like have a new leader come into a presidential role or whatever that title
hmm
might be, um and actually help the country better it for the people. I don't know. It's a tender ecosystem, I'm sure, in every nation, in every country. And maybe it's like cooking. Like you just got to get the recipe right for that particular place. I don't know.
And to that end, I mean, the more places that are like that, the easier it is for some group of super secret people to control the whole world.
Super secret. Not so
Yeah.
secret.
I mean, what do you do when you have that much power? How do you entertain yourself?
I don't want to say, do they know? They definitely know.
I mean, if they exist, if this is true,
Yeah.
they have to know.
Yeah.
It has to be it has to be managed.
Mm-hmm.
They can't just set it and forget it.
Are you the kind of, are these the kinds of people that, like, they sit back and enjoy life? Or is it just like a constant, like, I could get knocked down from this at any moment. This could all crumble and fall apart. Like, what is the mindset of this person? Or is it something we can't even fathom because we're not there at all?
That's a really interesting question too. You think like you can? I wonder what it'd be like. I would be stressed out all the time and trying to. But you got to go into it with like a different. Got to go into it like it's a career path. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna like get in there.
There's got to be a massive chip on your shoulder, or some sort of like deep void that you're trying to fill.
Okay.
Who would
mommy issues, daddy issues, that kind of thing.
Like I imagine the work that would go into the scheming, the planning, the networking, because you can't do it on your own. You got to find a bunch of other evil people.
Yeah, you need a board of directors for this.
Like how do you the chairman of the board, like I'm picturing in Despicable Me whenever he goes to apply to bank loans for doing his evil stuff, like I don't know. That would be you'd almost have to live for that chase, that
right.
That thrill of swindling the world, or at least creating the perception for yourself that you're part of this group of people who are pulling the puppet strings.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like during COVID.
Oh my gosh.
They would have been on yachts and fucking, I don't know, bungee jumping, or I don't know what the fuck.
Oh, there's a global pandemic.
The world leaders do. I don't know how many of them are super fucking old either. If like you can't be young, you couldn't be too young.
Yeah.
And be running the world.
Yeah, you've got to have done a bit of time.
Like, how do you build that resume?
Totally. Yeah. Work your way up. What does that corporate ladder look like?
I was talking about the idea of what morality is and how...
Having morals, you mean?
Yeah, having morals. Okay. So, like, the way we behave...
Yeah.
You know, would you ever punch someone? You'd probably say no. Now, if someone pushed your kid, would you punch them? Yeah. Yeah, you probably would.
That was honestly my first thought. I was like, depends if what they did to me.
So it's like the action, and that kind of proves the point, right? Is that it's always a depends. It's always circumstantial. Yeah. There's always context required. So we like to think that we live in this moral black and white. I know what right is. I know what wrong is. I know what good and evil is, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And I'm sure we've mentioned this before, but I feel like that's the basis of the entire woke movement. I don't know if we'd call it a movement, but like the woke
ethos,
and beliefs. That there is an ultimate right and there is an ultimate wrong.
And I gotta find out what it was said, but I was watching the show American Primeval on Netflix.
Okay.
Which is really interesting. It's around the same time as it's in the 1850s.
Okay, wow.
So it's right before the show 1883. If anyone's watched it or is at least familiar with it.
And it's I'm assuming fictitious?
There are a few historical accuracies in it, but it is primarily a fictitious storyline.
Okay.
With fictitious characters, but there are some events that actually took place.
Loosely based on the truth.
And exactly, like there was the
Any
Mountain Meadows.
likeness to real people is just happenstance.
Yeah, the yes and no. So you've read Empire of the Summer Moon.
No.
You haven't? Jordan has. I have. It's a good book, and I got it on good authority for some God's honest Texans that it's one of the best history books of Texas.
Okay.
Anyway, there's this event called the Mountain Meadows Massacre, and there
Okay.
was something like 120 people from Arkansas
Okay.
that were making their way west, and they were going, I don't know where, somewhere along one of the trails that was populating into the west and into the Pacific coast on the United States. And the show
Mm-hmm.
makes it like Mormons attacked this group of people.
Okay.
But there is, I guess, I don't know. I was looking into it, and they said they're certain that it was Mormons and other people, so probably some native groups that maybe had converted or whatever.
Okay.
But it was I can't remember why they did it, why they ambushed it, but that scene, that historical event is a part of the show.
Okay. Okay.
But it's just terrifying. Anyway, the cool thing about American Primeval is, watching 1883, it was basically settlers and pioneers versus Native Americans.
Okay. Yeah.
And the odd bandit or cattle thieves or whatever that you're trying to deal with, but no organized outside of the First Nations folks, no organized enemy. In American Primeval, it was terrifying because the Mormons were another organized sort of enemy,
Entity,
as it were.
Okay.
So you had all of
the Mormons. Okay.
The Jesus Christ Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I think.
So the Latter-day Saints, they don't, I apologize for any Latter-day Saints out there. I'm speaking pejoratively, and I did not mean to. But the interesting thing was, so, people trying to find families, new homes, new beginnings, new futures, whatever. There's people that already live there that are having their homes, taken from them.
Yeah.
Often very violently, and being forced to relocate to other spots. And then you've got this religious group that's trying to carve out their own little chunk of land just for them, right? So they wanted Utah to be, or this place in the United States, they wanted it to be their own country with their own like government and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so they were defending their future, their way of life, and everything like that.
Wow.
And you're watching the show, and you're like, man, there's a lot happening. There's a lot of players in this game,
Okay.
and it's all super duper violent. And the interesting thing was, you kind of look at it, and you're like, okay, who's right, who's wrong?
Yeah.
I think there's some pretty obvious instances of killing women and children, probably never acceptable.
Not cool, bro.
Not cool.
Some
not
might
cool.
say.
But it just gives you that idea of morality as a point of view. It's not a definition. It's not a hard and fast, because there's some things you just wouldn't do.
Yep.
And then there are other things that you think you wouldn't do, but given the right circumstances, you absolutely would. And now, the whole reason I brought this up is because we live, and you mentioned it when you talked about woke, but it's not just woke, it's pretty much everything. Everyone kind of lives and dies by their opinion these days.
Right.
They have
these days,
these kids, everyone thinks they understand everything, myself included. I do this all the time.
Sure.
I mean,
you fact check everything on Google.
It's
easy to feel like you know everything.
The social structure fell apart overnight. I want to know, like what that would look like. How long would it take people to realize that there are no rules and no consequences anymore? And how many people would be pretty fucked because of that?
Wait, are we
versus
talking like
total anarchy?
okay?
Like there's no police anymore. There's no
Oh God.
government. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
remember
we kind of
Seattle?
saw a little bit of it in the pandemic, right?
Yeah, was that Seattle?
I don't remember where.
I'm pretty sure it was somewhere
I
in
know LA
Washington.
was I don't want to say LA was bad, but like in LA when the Black Lives Matter movement really like
Hit its stride.
yeah, I don't know if that's what
Yeah,
I
it's a little too
like to
cold.
say, but
A little too casual.
yeah, I just it there were places, there were people who were calling the police because there was looting apparently
Mm-hmm.
happening in rampantly. And I can't say that I know this for sure, for a fact. I only heard people, like my information is second or third hand. Like I feel like I've heard this from people talking about it on podcasts who were there or who heard it from other sources. So like I don't know if my information is even good at all, but I'm willing to share it with you. Um, there was so much looting. There were fires happening, like buildings were being set on fire, cars were being set on fire. There was quite literally that level of anarchy happening, and the police could not stop it. They initially tried to respond to calls, but it got so overwhelming so fast that they could do almost nothing. They were
Yeah,
so overrun, and yeah, I can't imagine what that felt like to be a person living in that place at that time.
totally on your own.
Yeah, knowing like people could just break into my house, the police won't show up. Like and we'll say the bad guys, like the culprits, knowing that too. Being like, we could just break into all these places, steal everything. Nobody's coming.
It's like watching people go into an Apple store and just rip all the phones out.
Oh,
And the employees are told, like, don't get involved.
right.
I'm not
Yeah.
covering your hospital bills.
Yeah.
I just think it's completely unacceptable that that's allowed to happen.
It's but what do you do, right? Like
You put someone, like, you put a security guard there with a giant fucking baseball bat.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And
yeah,
you're like, yeah, listen.
In the Apple case specifically, I thought you meant like with the big time looting and
well,
stuff
that's
that.
a real question. Yeah. Like,
if you just don't have the manpower, period, what do you do?
Do you think that people would band together and protect themselves and each other? Or do you think
Some people would. Some people.
And then how long before the infighting starts? Because resources are going to become a huge issue.
Fast, yeah.
Not to get too onto the prepper side of the conversation.
We need to establish a P corner.
Yeah, rule number 1 into the apocalypse. Where's the P corner? Because I would expect so many people to sit around and do nothing, hoping that someone else was going to solve the problem.
Right, like a bystander effect type of thing.
A new government. No, more like an ostrich, like burying your head in the sand kind of thing.
Okay.
Like they'd be waiting for
somebody's gonna come save us.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
This person's gonna take charge, and they're gonna guide us, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But then they're the ones that are gonna get demolished, moving from Arkansas,
right,
to Utah or wherever it was that they were going. And it's just
that's such an interesting question. I feel like I don't want to say this goes back to, but where my mind goes is I was listening to a podcast, that one about how to not be social awkwardly anymore.
Oh, Vanessa Edwards?
Vanessa van Edwards.
Van Edwards.
Yeah, she was saying how there's like the 3 personality types that she has seen over the years, more or less, falls into these three categories: the victim, the healer, or the hero. And I think what happens in those situations, what you're talking about, is like the people banding together to protect others, hero people.
Yeah.
The ones looking to like maybe find resources, make sure this doesn't happen to others, that go into like not regroup, but those would be like your healer personalities. And then the kind of people, and this is going to sound so dramatic, but like the kind of people who are just waiting for somebody else to fix, victim types, right? And that's, and I think there's probably like a spectrum
Yeah,
of all
for
these
sure.
things. Like what's that
You're not
three
just one of
circle?
those.
Yeah,
Oh, like a Venn diagram.
Venn diagram. Thank you. Of like the different personalities. And they probably overlap in different percent, whatever. If you were to really break it down, but yeah, I think that would be I don't say perfect illustration, but like perfect example of those different stereotypes or types of people that would play out in a real life situation, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There'd be like that lost middle group trying to figure out what to do, but not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
And then there'd be
Yeah.
people, whether it's helpful or not, taking action and trying to get involved.
Trying. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the people that are just like, oh my God, what do we do?
Yeah.
What do we
And to go back to your sort of moral, like the discussion about morals, where that falls into that is like, are any of these right or wrong? Or is it just like you need all of these things to exist to make the whole thing work? Do you know what I mean? Because like
Yeah.
to have a healer, you need a victim. Because or else who is the healer fixing? Same with the hero.
Yeah, yeah. Don't say this too loud because all the victims are like, you fucking need me. You need me.
You need me more than I need you. Yeah, no.
Because like, remember in school when the teacher wouldn't show up and everyone was like, oh, you only have to wait 5 minutes and then you get to leave because there's no class if the teacher doesn't show up. But then there's always those people that are like, no, stay, blah, 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 we'll read or something. And then there's the people who have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
I feel
Another
like
perfect example of that. Yeah.
Now picture that, but the teacher actually never shows up.
Okay.
And there's no principal. And there's no other teachers.
Okay.
And it's just students.
Yeah.
And there's bells, but there's no buses.
I've seen this scenario play out, I swear.
Well, so like now that's the world. There's no consequences
now that's
anymore.
The world.
The only consequences that you have now are completely unknown. And this may be influenced by the amount of Western shows I've been watching lately.
Okay. Sounds like a lot.
You could just up and get shot.
The Wild West.
You know, like just a few decades ago.
Truly,
if you ran
not
your
that
mouth,
long ago.
You got punched in the face.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, fast forward to today, where everyone's videotaping everything and you're going to jail and my dad's a lawyer and what the hell even is that?
We talked about this in CPR training. I will continue. Yeah, sorry.
Well, now in a world where, I got to protect my own.
Okay.
And I got to, whatever it is we're trying to do, got to make that happen.
Because nobody else is going to.
Like, yeah, are you changing who you are, or are you responding to a different set of rules of the game, I suppose?
I was going to say demands, but yeah.
I think most of us would be pretty upset if we killed anyone right now.
Yeah.
But like in a world where there's no rules and someone's banging at your door and they got a knife and you've got kids inside, what do? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So is this sort of where your question of morals comes into play? Whereas like,
I guess it's
the things that I maybe value aren't 100% the same as all of my neighbors in the neighborhood, if all the rules disappear tomorrow, how does this play out?
Yeah, and how do
It
you?
ends up being based on your morals, I guess, at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, like you either do what you need to do or you don't.
Right. Fair.
And
Yeah.
and if
It's
you
just that simple.
if you don't, bad things happen. If you
Mm.
do, bad things happen too. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you just have to bear the weight of that on your conscience.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's more a statement being, I think people think the world is black and white, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not.
Shades of gray.
And just a thought experiment on what would happen if the world fucking. I mean, certainly some places wouldn't know about
if we oh my god,
disillusion or something. No,
disillusioned,
dismantle.
dismantled the Ministry of
Yeah,
Education.
disapparate it.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, if any of our listeners want to comment on what they think of this subject, we would love to
Yeah,
hear.
I would really hope that just nothing changes in my world, but because I
Okay.
don't want to get into a fight,
Okay. Fair.
but also don't like people taking my shit.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
You're gonna stop them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would have like, I don't know, probably change the layout of my house a little, you know.
Okay.
Instead of like a hat rack at the front hall, like a bat rack.
A bat rack. Okay. Okay. Okay.
You know, like an aluminum
That's
one.
nice too because it rhymes. So
Yeah.
that
Or like a wooden one. Is that maple?
My dog's here. Yeah. Hi, Maple. I'll let you out in a minute.
What were you going to say about CPR?
Oh, so we did. Oh, geez. I've already forgotten. I did CPR training last week and we talked about, how everybody posts everything on social media. So the person who is doing the training, who was the trainer for us, was a retired paramedic. And he just retired last year. And 20 years he worked as a paramedic. So you can imagine he's in Toronto, city of Toronto proper. He's like, I've seen some things. And he was saying that the biggest, yeah, just wait, Maple. Sorry, she's gotta go. But also I tried to let her out multiple times just before doing this, so sorry, dude. He's seen some shit, and everybody records everything now. He said that was that's the biggest change he's seen in his 20-year career, was the fact that now instead of just bystander effect, people stand shocked on the side or just not even notice and walk by. He's now people are they want to get clicks, they want to post it to their TikTok, they want to post it on their social media or their YouTube or whatever it might be, so that they can get likes and clickbait and blah blah blah, and be like, I was there, I saw it. It's a very he was describing it as a very perverse way of witnessing the change in humanity that's happening, and I don't blame him. I feel like if I was
riding the coattails of tragedy.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is. It's people who are just oh my god, did you see that? Just looking for the next big
I was a part of it.
Viral video.
The same air that they couldn't breathe while they choked.
Oh my god. Yeah, he said that he has watched people, and he's maybe it's because they don't know how to perform CPR, and he's but somebody will be actively dying and somebody will pop their phone out and start recording instead of doing anything else. I feel like there's some part of me that's if I didn't feel comfortable helping, I'd at least be is somebody here able to help this person? Please.
Yeah.
If
positively contributing.
Yeah, if you can't be the thing or the person that's helping, perhaps be a supporting role in that so that we can solve this problem.
Yeah, it's still
but
helping.
Apparently that's not
helping the way you can.
Yeah, and maybe this is a moral thing too, where their morals say this is fine.
Could you imagine though? Because I don't know. I try to picture how people see the world.
Now?
So just like anytime, like
okay.
now I'm imagining someone happening upon an accident.
Yep.
And their first thought being, "Oh, I got to film this," and having no compassion
Or worry or concern.
not even a little voice in the back of their head. Like the first thing should be, "Oh fuck, what do I do?"
Mm-hmm.
At least, and if the second thing is, I better
pull out
take
my phone.
Then, like, we got problems.
Just walk away. Walk away.
At least you thought, I don't know what to do, because it means you thought, what should I do?
Yeah. And not everybody wants every single moment of their life captured and recorded and on video and exist on the internet forever.
It's the same as...
maybe that's something that the people who are recording all these events don't realize.
Yeah.
Like
they're dragging people
into the permanence.
Well, and you see that too with a lot of social media posts. Like, they'll post something and then weeks later I'll get on my For You page, "Hey, remember this video? I'm that person."
Oh my God, what?
Like, they're seeing it now. They were recorded and posted and they're like, "Yeah, it was me. And here's the story." I don't have any examples off the top of my head, but if I come across one, I'll share it with you. But your thought about the camera recording, it's a great example of how morality is not black and white. It exists in the gray, because
there you go. Yeah.
We're judging, lack of a better term, commenting on people
judging. I might be
responding in a way that we don't agree with.
Yeah.
Despite us being very confident on it. But it's the same as, I wonder where, parents that videotape their children when
every moment of their life,
when things are happening, like they're in pain or they're stuck or they need help. You've seen those ones. It's like, oh, and the comments like, "Oh, my son is blah, 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 blah. Better pull out my phone."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, even just the ones where they're having like meltdowns, like you're going to post it. And this might be on TikTok, and maybe TikTok dissolves in 10 years. But maybe it doesn't. Right? And maybe that video exists in perpetuity forever. And then
it doesn't even matter
goes to school. Yeah, like,
it doesn't matter that the video is taken. It's the idea that, we judge both of these things as bad choices.
Okay.
But one's a less bad choice than the other.
Well, and you mean you and I?
The royal.
Or you mean...
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't think everybody judges those videos. I think some people are like, yes, post more of this content. This is great.
But and that again, it just underlines the idea that everyone sees the world differently. Everyone, for one reason or another, they're in the yes camp, the no camp, the I don't care camp about any topic.
Okay. Yeah.
And so when those worlds collide, because there's no rules, I wonder what that looks like. The yes people and the no people arguing it out, and then the I don't care people just trying to get through to the other side.
Yeah.
It's just what a crazy mess. I saw a lady post a video saying that today's the last straw. I'm leaving him. When I get home, I'm just going to figure out a way to get out, and then I'm leaving him. And I'm like, it was a little suspicious. You don't look distraught at all.
Mm-hmm.
This should be one of the toughest decisions you've ever made.
Should be a little bit more emotional, maybe.
Yeah. And then I was like, A, that was A. B, who thinks to post this kind of shit? My first thought.
Wait, who's record? Like, okay, let me set up my camera. Here we go.
Yeah.
Let me set up my camera. And who am I talking to even on this? Myself?
No, it was a TikTok.
Well, this is it.
She's got a follower.
This is it.
She was talking to her audience or her followers or whatever.
Yeah, but okay, so this is where my question is. Was that recorded live? In which case, yes, she's talking directly to her followers. She's like, "Hey, I have this thing to tell you.
That's interesting.
I'm coming on live." If it's not, she's just opening up the camera facing the camera towards herself and then records, and then she's like, what, it doesn't sound good, let me try that again? Like,
either way,
what does that
ridiculous.
look like? Yeah.
And
It seems insane to me.
My thought too is, if you're in, I'm making some assumptions here, it's at least an unhealthy relationship, judging by the sounds of it,
Sure.
abusive.
Yeah.
Physically, emotionally, verbally, whatever. It all hurts.
Yeah.
And it's all not good.
Yeah.
You haven't left yet because you're afraid.
Okay.
And now you're posting this on social media, where I'm assuming the person that you're living with is familiar with your social media presence.
Perhaps.
So
Perhaps
now you're
not.
just broadcasting to the world, and now the person you're trying to leave, what your plan is. I mean, if I was abusive, I'd probably abuse you even harder.
Harder,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Now you really
you thought that was bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting thing you say, because I have witnessed something to this effect. I don't want to like name names or like relationships with the person in case they stumble upon it on the internet. But I knew a person who had a secret Facebook account. It wasn't their name. It was like a very old picture. You couldn't tell who it was from the profile picture. And they would not check it when they were at home or near their significant other. And to me, that spoke volumes about their relationship, period.
Yeah.
It was like a lie, first of all. It was like, to me, I don't want to say a harmless lie, but like, only because I knew this person, I knew that they weren't doing anything nefarious on Facebook. And like, how much trouble can you really get into on Facebook? You know what I mean? Just saying. But it was like the insecurity of their partner was the reason that they kept it hidden, because they were worried that, well, you're going to go contact a person from your past, or you're going to talk to friends or people who don't like me, or whatever. It was all about their insecurity, and it blew my mind. And it's what you're describing in a way, because they didn't have an idea of the social media presence of their significant other. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And so I suppose in that case, could have gotten away with posting whatever they wanted, and the other person not realizing it ever, or until their friends showed them.
Yeah.
But eventually all this came out, and years later they broke up. But I feel like it was such a tell to me in the first place. Like, if this woman that you were describing was, and I don't even think you said it was a woman. Did I just assume?
I think
I think you said it was a woman. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that was so sexist of me.
Close call.
I think she may be hiding this profile, making it, and maybe not, like, obviously, I don't want to say obviously, but like, it's public if you saw it. But you could potentially block somebody that knows you.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I mean? Like, there's ways.
It just seems like so much effort.
That's a lot of work if they're trying to hide it, but then also posting it publicly. So that, I don't know, that just speaks volumes to me, that she would even record a video, even if she didn't end up, following through with the breakup. The fact that she would record that and like post it for who? For her? Is it for herself?
Yeah, is this a confidence building thing?
For others? Is it maybe she's hoping that her was it spouse or boyfriend? I'm not sure. Her other half. Maybe she's hoping, he stumbles upon it and he's like, F you, I'm gonna break up with you first. Like,
Yeah, that's
you
what's
can't
gonna
fire
happen.
me, I quit. Yeah.
I'm gonna break your nose. You can't fire me. Yeah, the vibe I got was attention seeking, and that's not
Okay.
fair for me
Okay.
to assume. But
Sure.
the feeling I was getting was overwhelmingly,
The vibes were
this is how I'm gonna get likes and follows. I just got to make shit up, and I hope that's not the case because it really undermines people in
those
similar
situations
situations. Yeah,
where women often find themselves. It's the reason why there's women's shelters, and like so many support groups and things like this. It just seems like not the venue to be seeking
yeah,
support or
yeah.
assistance.
Already contentious
Yeah.
situation. Let's throw
Yeah.
gasoline on the fire.
Yeah, let's post it for the world to see.
Crazy, crazy, crazy
Yeah.
people.
And all I hear, like in the back of my mind, I'm imagining this scenario where it's like her sister-in-law or her mother-in-law sees this
Something
video,
stupid, yeah.
and then she calls up Johnny and she's like, Johnny, did you see what so-and-so posted? She's crazy. She said she's gonna break up with you. She said you're abusing her. This, like, I'm just imagining like the most dramatic family
Yeah.
confrontation and just a hot mess and lots of phone calls, and I can't slam the phone anymore, but
Just
slamming that end button
yeah. Fucking pushing it really hard.
and then a really loud, angry conversation. Police being called to the residence. We heard there was a domestic disturbance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
something like that.
I don't envy my children, our children, learning the ropes of this new world because
It really is a new world.
we got to grow up with all the growing pains, which
Yeah.
started small, thankfully. Lessons were learned quickly, but it seems now like
It's uncharted territory a little bit.
it really is. There is nothing you can't do anymore thanks to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And
AI as well has changed. Yeah.
There's so much AI content on social media too.
And there's this I don't want to say there's this thing happening, but I've been hearing the kids on the bus talk about this a lot. Is that real? I hear that so often. Is that real? Is that even real? And I'm like,
oh yeah,
okay, it's good. They're being critical thinkers. They're like, this could be AI, and often it is. I think with like the kind of goofy content that these kids consume, like a lot of them I think are into anime or like cartoons or whatever, video game characters and things like that. They're just watching dumb videos on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. But recognizing that like a lot of this is made up and like might have been just computer generated and it's not for real.
It's getting harder and harder to tell. Thank God I don't have to care about that.
Speaking of which, oh my God, we watched YMH Live 10, but not live. We like watched, we rented it.
Yeah.
After anyway, and there is this Down syndrome model that exists on Instagram. Dude, if you saw her, you'd be like, what?
Did you use air quotes when you said Down syndrome?
Oh, she doesn't look like she has Down syndrome.
So judgmental, Jenna. God.
I know. Model Instagram. Oops. Pardon me. It's none of these people who are actually real. Okay. I don't know if it's this person. Like Okay, the yeah, not her. Oh my god, there's like a knockoff account of this woman. Okay.
This is a crazy conversation.
I'm sorry. They were talking about it on, so I'm sorry for like stealing the topic from them. I feel like maybe that's not the way of saying that. Anyways, they were talking about it on. There's this woman. So the picture of the person that comes up is Sophia Girau. I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. Girau, Puerto Rican model, and like she's a real person, but there is a fake
That's
Insta account
this is okay.
that
Thankfully,
has stolen her pictures and then further modified them, and that account is AI. But to just like, and I can't even find the fake account now. I'll keep looking. Maybe I'll find it and add it in post or whatever. But maybe if I looked up, hang on. Fake Instagram account?
well, we wouldn't want this AI account to succeed. We'd want her account to succeed.
Right. Correct. So I don't want to draw people to that. Is that what you're telling me?
But the example is powerful.
Yeah.
AI is well. There's Andy Frisella. I'm pretty sure. No, you know who it is? Sean Ryan. He's got the Sean Ryan show. He's an ex-Navy SEAL. His podcast is pretty interesting. But he always mentions how people take clips from his show and put it on their accounts or repost them or whatever. And normally, up until I heard him say this, I assumed that creators would probably be upset with people taking their videos and posting them on their own accounts.
Okay.
But he was like, no, I think it's great because it's our content and we want it out there. So even if someone else, if you're posting it and someone else views it, it's the same idea as if they saw it on my own page. So that's fine. I mean, it's a very developed country way of him saying, I got enough followers and money that I don't need to worry about it.
Yeah. All good.
But the idea is true. Like you're putting like all publicity is good publicity if that's a real thing. You know what I mean?
I mean that it's a saying for a reason, I believe. Like it's it was Cardi B who said something like, yeah, bring on the haters, man. Like they just keep, like, they're giving me more likes, like they're still listening to my music, they're listening to it traffic. So that they can trash it after. And she's like, I don't care, like that translates to money for me, so thank you for paying my bills. Like she's just like, you don't realize that this is helping me, so haha to you, more or less. And I think that that's the case in most of these scenarios that you're describing, where it's like,
yeah. And that's why, like, this AI thing, like, hopefully her own accounts are more successful than the AI ones.
Agreed. So and like just by any monetization, a quick browse, it is
good.
Yeah.
But it's also helpful because the more, I'm assuming she wants to be a model, the more people see her modeling, the more people are gonna go follow her and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And it also like normalizes people with Down syndrome doing normal things like modeling or
I don't know. And, I feel like Down syndrome is distinct because it like you see the difference in a person, like it's physically obvious. And so you might place judgment up front.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, oh, that Down syndrome person, whatever. But it, like, I don't want to say breaks down barriers. Like I don't know if that's like the right way of saying it, but in a case where modeling is a very visual playing field, like, I think it introduces opportunity for sure, where, like, instead of placing that judgment, we can be like, oh, there's like, and not to say it doesn't matter anymore because there's more of them, but like eventually, hopefully with time, it's like, oh, there's hundreds of models that look different. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's the whole point, is that there's not just like one person. And that's what that whole like acceptance, self-acceptance, stepping away from like traditional modeling and media and expectations, blah, 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 is like, there is literally not just one person. There's like billions and billions and billions of people in the world that all look different. And it's trying to showcase opportunities for all. I don't know. Yeah.
I agree. I think it reminds you, and this is something we've mentioned many times.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if there's a goal, there's an objective, if there's something that you want, and I think this is something that's really, really bad in our generation, is we have a hard time.
Old millennials.
Us millennials, we have a hard time picturing ourselves in an environment or in circumstances or conditions other than what we're currently experiencing.
For sure.
So
yeah.
a young lady,
if we're not living it, it's almost not real. Yeah.
Yeah, like a young lady with Down syndrome who wants to become a model can picture herself as a model.
Yeah.
Can imagine that. And then as soon as you're able to do that, you take the wind out of the sails of the idea that it's not obtainable. Is this even by
possible?
You. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so now you see more and more people who are less and less stereotypical in these fields, in these industries, in these roles, and whatever. And everyone else gets to see that and realize, like, whatever you want to do.
And then also, I think there's a little bit of like, oh yeah, everybody can do this actually also.
It's easy. I don't know if this is an accurate statement. I think, most people are so busy in their own lives that they just write off so many other people that they see in their day-to-day. Not for nothing. It's probably just, I got enough shit to deal with. I got kids. I got, you know what I mean? PTA, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, that we judge physically first.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
And so
I think as mammals, that might be part of it too. I don't know the psychology behind it, but I think.
Nor do I. I think
state, we're all mammals.
We live in a time now where there just needs to be no judgment.
Yeah, sure.
Not less judgment, but just no judgment.
Can we just like move on from this judgment thing?
Yeah. Like you talked about with Cardi B, people, hate, like, that's judgment.
Totally.
It's good that it doesn't impact her, but imagine like how much confident people would be if they judged less. So
I wrote down, this is like going to be on another episode completely, but I heard about, I can't remember if it's a series or a movie, but it's called Adolescence.
Yes.
On Netflix, and I think it's fairly new. I just heard about it, and it's making waves because it touches on a lot of judgment. And I think it centers around a true story about a boy. Like, I don't know if this is spoiler alerts, but this is like how the story was described to me. A boy who ends up killing a girl in his grade, and he's in, I want to say, either middle school or like early high school. And
he's 13.
13. Yeah. So he's like just become a teenager, and kind of I don't want to say the events that led up to this happening, but like the world that teenagers are in now, and the fact that his parents had no idea that there was any lead up. And there was a lot of lead up into this apparently, but the parents had no idea because their kids are so disconnected
Mm-hmm.
and so dialed into this like digital world that exists. So anyways, I feel like that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
But because maybe we can do some homework and like watch part or all of it and then perhaps discuss next time. But yeah, in that space of like, maybe there needs to be less judgment. That can be part of it.
Yeah, if we stop judging ourselves first,
Yeah.
probably be a good first step.
Yeah, fair.
And then you realize like there's no point to judgment. We do it because we've been, to use a previous word, indoctrinated.
Yeah. Yeah.
We grew up just nonstop being judged, hearing judgment, listening to people judge other people. You internalize all of that. And now someone doesn't signal on the highway.
We all have anxiety disorders.
And I know exactly what kind of fucking jackass that guy is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway.
So I wanted to, I'll share this with you. I didn't mention it earlier, but in my CPR training, I had the joy of getting to like talk and meet one of my coworkers who I've never had a like opportunity to spend any time with before. Her name is Sue. She's so lovely. She's a grown adult with adult kids. Like her kids are in their early 20s. And like we got talking and connecting on so many levels. And throughout the course of the day we were chatting, and I mentioned, I was like, oh, I do all kinds of stuff, Sue. I was like, I have a podcast, I do flowers, blah, blah, blah. She was like, you have a podcast? I love podcasts. And she pulls open her feed, hundreds and hundreds of shows she listens to. Like she must just like on repeat. Not on repeat, but like she's got them all. She follows so many. And so we are now on her list of podcasts.
Yeah. Sue, my new favorite person.
I know, right? And the first episode she listened to, because she was like, where do I start? I said, listen to our early episodes when we started getting guests. And she listened to our episode with Tony, which I was like, we need to get him on again. But she was just like, Antonio, oh my God, what a life story. And we got chatting about it a little bit. And she shared this compliment with me. It was for both of us, so I'm sharing it with you. She was like, you guys really care to ask questions and like want to know more about the people that you have on. I was like, yeah. Does not everybody want to know about other people? And she was just like, no, I don't feel people care about each other. And you were kind of just saying that, everybody's wrapped up in their own world. Yeah. You don't really see what's going on in other people's worlds, right? And she said just that same exact thing. She was like, everybody's got their own stuff going on and like don't have any interest to really like connect with each other.
That's us just looking in other people's windows, asking all the right questions.
I do look into people's windows all the time. Do you go on walks at night and you're like, what are you doing in there? Yeah.
That's how I know the one guy in your neighborhood has the leg lamp from A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple in Port Hope, actually.
That's weird.
Seen. Yeah.
I've never seen one, let alone many.
Yeah, no, drive around Port Hope around Christmas. You'll see a few.
That's so funny. All right, friend.
So yeah, thank you, Sue.
I think that's a great place to end this.
I agree.
It's getting late here. All right.
Yeah, wonderful.
Thank you all for tuning in and listening, and we'll see you next week.
Toodle.